G'day YouTube, it's Ralph here, and in today's video I will share on how my first week of shred is going. So before I jump into the video, I'd just like to ask for your support guys. If you could just like this video. Also, if you haven't subscribed to my channel, please do so, as this will help to grow my channel. Or if you guys have any friends who's keen to learn on how to lose weight or fat the right way, please share this video to them so that we could spread some awareness and proper education on how to lose fat. Also, I'd just like to take this moment to reintroduce myself for those people who don't know me. My name's Ralph, and I've been a nurse here in Australia for the past decade with an experience in intensive care emergency department and currently practicing in peri-operative care unit. So my interest lines up on the evidence-based practice on how to look after ourselves in terms of like physically and mentally, nutrition and recovery protocols, and also I have an interest on the bodybuilding space. So with all the knowledge on my interests, also with my profession, I combine it all together and use it to my advantage in order for me to transform my body from being a chubby or skinny fat Joe into a leaner version of myself. Without further ado, let's jump into the topic on how am I going with my shredding on the next 12 to 16 weeks. Okay, so I'm just gonna go through this video on how am I going with my shredding this past week. So this is my first week of my 12 to 16 week shred. So the reason why I'm estimating it from 12 to 16 really depends on how my body will respond to the diet and training that I'll be doing in the future, because we can't really predict on what's gonna happen in the future. That's why I gave myself like a little bit of ballpark on how and when to hit my goal. So the goal is to drop my weight from 68.4 to 65 kg without losing much muscle in the process. I know it's not much weight, but because when I got really lean when I finished my shredding last December, I was actually sitting around 65 kg. It feels like that was like the perfect weight for me in terms of like being healthy physically and mentally. So I wanted to get back into that weight with an idea of dropping my body fat to 10% or 12%, between that numbers. Right now, if I'm just using my naked eye and with knowledge in terms of like bodybuilding scene, I'm probably sitting around 15 to 17% body fat. So I know it's not much of like that I needed to burn in terms of like on a 12 to 16 week of shredding, but it's actually really harder to get rid of those stubborn body fat, especially in the belly, when bring your body fat lower. Just going into my plan here. So with my total daily expenditure, I did counted it. I started at around 68.4 kg, and that is roughly around 2600 or 2500 calories per day. That actually accounts the lifestyle that I have, because I do train 6 times a week, so I'm quite active physically. Plus my profession, it's quite a laborious job. I do have a blue collar job, which I work 10 hours a day, and that's being a nurse in the operating theaters. I'm always on my feet throughout that 10 hours, so I'm actually burning a lot of calories when I do work my day job. And I do work like 4 times a week, so that's like 40 hours. So I know 2500 on TDE is quite high, but for me, that's just the average calories that I need to consume in order for me to maintain my body weight. So now that I know my TDE, I just reduced it by 500 calories. So I should eat at least like 2100 or sometimes 2000 calories per day. So I just started with 2100 just to give myself a little bit of protein intake. So my protein intake is sitting around 180 grams per day, just slightly above the minimum requirement of gram per pound per day. It's just, I know for the fact that in order for me to maintain that muscle mass that I've achieved from my mini bulk, I need to eat more protein than the minimum requirement. And in terms of like dietary fat intake, I just like to keep it around 50 to 60 grams. It's just because fats in general, in terms of calories, it's quite high compared to protein and carbohydrates. So just try to keep it low, but at the same time, to the amount that it won't ruin me. It won't ruin my hormonal balance and also my immune system. So the rest will be just filled by carbs. I think it's around 190 or 200 grams per day, because I needed that source of fuel in terms of like just functioning throughout my daily tasks, such as my day job, also with my workload management in my training, because I do train 6 times a week. So I need a good amount of fuel source in order for me to sustain that intensity with my training. So now that I have that TDE and my caloric deficit in mind, with my workout routine, I just like to do it, like I said, 6 times per week. The reason being is that the logic is to hit the muscle or each muscle group twice per week. I haven't explained this in the past. The reason being is that muscle protein synthesis is elevated about a couple of days or 1 to 3 days. And if you're just training one muscle group per week, you're not actually maximizing that muscle protein synthesis, because when you try to re-stimulate that same muscle after 7 days, the baseline for the protein synthesis flattens, unlike when you're trying to stimulate it every 2 to 3 days. It's actually still like at its peak or quite elevated, and that's an opportunity for an optimal growth in terms of like hypertrophy. So that is that. And also the reason being is that just the distribution in terms of like working out. So I do like to work out 30 minutes or maximum 45 minutes. That's only my resistance training, and around 15 minutes of cardiovascular exercise. So instead of like just having a very high volume in one session, that actually makes me exhausted and really fatigued throughout the week. I just try to like divide that load twice a week and sustain that energy balance throughout the week, and in that way I would be able to sustain that intensity throughout my workouts. So that's the reason being. And for example, the amount of sets that I normally do would be like 10 sets of workout per muscle group. So let's say with chest I have to do like at least 10 sets, so that will be like 3 different workouts with 3 sets in total. It's just not mainly like, let's say if I'm doing chest press or dumbbell press, it doesn't mean that I'm just hitting chest alone. It actually involves other muscle group too, such as shoulder and triceps. So I'm just trying to be economical as well with like how my training routine can be utilized, because I'm trying to maximize my time on the weight room. So obviously if I'm doing that, that could give me the ability to sustain my energy throughout the week, and also just maintaining that amount of reps that I have with my structured routine. And for added info about evidence-based approach on why I am training my muscle group twice per week, Dr. Schoenfeld did a study on 2016 that training the muscle twice per week has actually led to a greater hypertrophy compared to training it once a week. So just like I said before, it's all about the protein synthesis. After 2 to 3 days, that protein synthesis flattens, unlike when you're trying to stimulate that same muscle group after 2 days. You're actually stimulating it with an optimum window to to promote more growth. We're giving it enough time to recover from the fatigue that we caused from the training. So that is that. So the way I divided my workout routine, day one or Monday is upper chest, shoulder, triceps, biceps with calves, and then day two is the outer lats or the outer portion of my back muscle with rear and side delts and biceps and forearms. Day three, hamstring and quads with a little bit of ab workout, just crunches in general. Day four, going back to the chest, targeting the middle part and lower chest, and shoulder triceps again with a bit of biceps and calves. And day five is hamstring, quads, glutes, and a little bit of abs. And day six is just targeting the middle part of my back muscles, especially focusing on the erector spine and side delts and biceps. So that's just how I structured my training routine. I'm just gonna go through my journal on how I went on through my workout this past week. So I didn't really actually manage to train 6 times a week this past week. It's just because last Friday I was just feeling really exhausted. Didn't really had enough sleep, so I had to skip Friday and then carried it over to my last day of the week, which is Saturday. So I did 2 muscle groups on Saturday, which is involving legs, back, and some arms. So it was quite intense. I'm just gonna put a screenshot on in terms of like my workout routine and also the amount of sets and reps that I did through this week. But I'm just gonna quickly go through it. So Monday I did some low incline dumbbell press, and then I repped it with some hammer machine incline chest press. So just mainly focusing on the upper chest or upper pectoral muscle. And then I did some cable tricep push down using bar. I just like the bar more compared to ropes because the way I structured my workout is mainly focused on the deep stretch on the eccentric control. So I'm not really feeling that on the rope for some reason. It's more like concentric bias compared to eccentric when you're using the rope. So I'm mainly focusing my energy on the eccentric part rather than the concentric. So calf machine as well, I did that as well. And dumbbell lateral raises. This one is a bit of modified version. So what I did, I sat on the bench, an incline bench, just to get some leverage through the bench when I'm like leaning backwards, and it's actually creating a little bit of stretch on the side delts when I'm doing those side lateral raises. Also it's friendly in joints too, which I like. And did some hammer curls, which is brachialis focused. So that's Monday. Tuesday, my leg workout, I did some lying leg curl, 2 sets of that, and V squats. The reason why I like V squats compared to Smith machine or upper barbell back squat, I don't really have to focus on balancing myself when I'm dropping on the ground when I'm doing this formation. And in terms of like Smith machine, it's just really actual fatiguing. I know it's good when you're trying to lose calories, but I'm trying to preserve my energy throughout the week, so that's why I just relied on V squat. Plus, there's a better machine if I'm trying to hit my quads on leg workouts such as hack squats, but we don't have that machine in my local gym, so V squat would do. It emulates the same movement, focusing on the quads. And I did some crunches, which basically a slant board sit up. So So I did 2 sets of that. Wednesday, going through my back exercise or a little bit of outer lats focus. Start my back workout on the week using machine chest supported row. So it's a machine that you pull, doing like a row movement, and I like it using the underarm formation. Just focus on that outer lats when I do that. Also with a little bit of a support, padded support on my chest, so that when I focus on that eccentric deep stretch, I can actually feel my outer lats being pulled or stretched intensely. So I like that machine in terms of like hypertrophy. And Smith machine row, it's just because, again, that bottom stretch when I'm doing that movement, plus the fact that I'm actually stimulating my spinal rectus, which is good for lower back strength. So Smith machine row and a little bit of a body weight pull up, so about 10 reps and 5 reps. The reason why I like that movement is just because when I'm hanging on the bar with my body weight, I just feel that tension on my outer lats when I'm bottoming out on that movement. So that's why I like pull-ups in general, in terms of like increasing the amount of muscle mass in my outer back. And then a little bit of a dumbbell curl. So this one is a bit modified that I've learned from other fitness guru. So what they like to do is you put yourself on a flat bench and then you do some curls or bicep curls in general. So again, with emphasis on the eccentric bottom stretch, you can actually feel that insane stimulus when you're trying to stretch that bicep muscle on that movement. So that's why I like that. And barbell standing wrist curl, just to promote some growth on the forearms. That's day 3, and then day 4, going back to chest. So I started my day with some tricep workout first. So cable overhead tricep extension using the bar. Again, I like bar compared to ropes, just promotes muscle stimulus more compared to cables, in my opinion. And a little bit of dips or body weighted dips focused on the bottom pecs. So I like this movement a lot because it's not just helps my bottom pecs to grow, it actually helps my triceps and a little bit of biceps as well, because of the movement. It's a compound movement, so it's a good exercise in my opinion. And then machine chest press, it's just an easy exercise compared to dumbbell press, because you don't have to balance the weight with your arms. Because sometimes the tendency of doing like dumbbell press over a chest press is that when the weight gets too heavy, I find it that my forearms and my biceps works more compared to just like focusing the stimulus on my chest or my middle pecs. And then I just myo-repped it with some push-up deficits. So again, focusing on deep stretch. I just like to use those calisthenic mini bar, so that when I go from my eccentric control, my chest is actually stretched a lot at the bottom part of the movement. So that's the advantage of using those calisthenic bars. And then some leg press calves. Try to attack the calves twice per week, just to stimulate muscle growth. Then Smith machine upright row. So this movement actually targets a little bit of the shoulder, a bit of a rear delt, and some side delts, but mainly the shoulder part. I know some people hate this exercise because it actually hurts their shoulder. Sometimes it's labeled as like a workout that would injure our shoulder, but when done properly and you actually don't put too much weight on the bar. Like, I like to use the Smith machine in this movement. It actually helps my shoulder health in general because it actually strengthens it. So I like to incorporate that movement on my training. So that's day 4. Day 5, unfortunately, have to skip. It's just because I was really exhausted and fatigued at that day. I didn't really sleep well, so I have to skip that out just to recover more. So that would mean my leg workout will be carried out with my last workout of the week on Saturday. So Saturday was quite intense, but I just started my day on Saturday with good mornings, high bar, just 1 set just to stimulate the hamstring, and then leg press, just overall leg strength and stimulus as well. Again, emphasizing on the bottom stretch of eccentric control. That's why I like this movement. Then walking lunges using dumbbells, so glute focused mainly. So there's like different types of variation when doing lunges. When your body's like upright, straight, when you're doing lunges, that actually focus on quads. But when you lean your body forward and you just lean lower, when you do that bottom movement on lunges, you focus more on the glutes. So that's how I modified my lunges. So that is that. And modified candlestick, it's just for the upper ab strength, and obviously again eccentric control. I don't know how many times I've said eccentric control today, but that's the main focus when I work out. So that's how I attacked my leg day, and then followed it up on the same day. It was actually a torturous day. I did some hammer machine row. So on my previous back workout throughout the week, I did like a normal bent row with padded support on my chest, but this time around I'm using a machine that you actually pull from the top and then squeeze at the bottom. That stimulates the growth on the middle part of my back muscle, which you can see like a diamond shape in the middle part of your back. So I like that movement to stimulate growth on the middle part of my back. And then pull down. This is just for the sake of like overall back muscle growth, because with pull downs or lat pull down, you're not actually just stimulating the outer lats, you're actually stimulating the middle part of the back too. So I was actually contemplating whether to do a close grip or just like a normal pull down in terms of like my second day back routine, but it makes more sense for me to do the pull down rather than the close grip, because with close grip you're just focusing on the middle part rather than just the overall back muscle in general. So that's my logic behind it. So that's that. And then dumbbell lateral raise with super range of motion. So I'm actually not stopping in the middle part or the shoulder level when I do that lift. I actually swing it all the way up high to my ear level, with a little bit of emphasis on the concentric movement, but obviously I try to focus more on the bottoming part out, as I can feel that stretch on my side delts when I'm lowering down the dumbbell using that movement. And then just finishing it up with some cable curl just on the outer head of the biceps. I like to use the row machine, but I just put like those curl bar and then just do some lying variation on the cable curl. It's just because number one, it makes it more difficult an eccentric movement rather than a concentric movement, because the common mistake on this type of exercise, people tend to swing the weight really quick just to compensate the load, and then they just run out of energy and then have a complete disregard on the technique on the eccentric control, which I don't want. So it's easier for me to pull up the weight on the concentric, and then that eccentric control is just because I can feel some insane amount of stimulus on that movement. So that is that. And then dumbbell standing wrist curl, instead of like barbell, I just use dumbbell and then just standard curls on forearms. So that is my workout for this week. So hopefully you guys could learn something from that routine and apply it on your own. So just take it with a grain of salt. Each person has some different criteria in terms of like how do they want to achieve their goals or target in terms of like physique growth. Also, on top of this workout routine, I do cardiovascular exercise as well. So I do level 9 stair climbers, 15 minutes, 4 times a week, sometimes even 5 or 6. The way I like to do it, because Stairmasters with my heart rate, it's reaching around zone 3 or zone 4, which is quite like a strenuous demand for my heart. Dr. Peter Attia stated on his podcast and his book about how to look after our heart or cardiovascular heart in general. They're actually trying to get the heart a bit more elastic, because as we get older, what happens is that our heart becomes stiffer and it's actually struggling to pump blood more efficiently when that happens. So by just making it more elastic, you're actually trying to create some longevity health in terms of your cardiovascular health. Also, we're trying to get my heart rate up. I'm increasing my VO2 max, and that actually reduces the risk of having heart diseases such as heart attack, and also metabolic diseases, disorders like diabetes. So that eliminates actually those risk factors when you try to increase your VO2 max. I think Peter Attia said like with zone 2 training, you need to have like 3 hours worth of zone 2 training in terms of like benefiting your cardiovascular heart in general. But with zone 3 and zone 4, 2 hours a day is actually beneficial. So that's where I fall into the category on how I do my cardiovascular workout. And also, it's just with improving your cardiovascular health, that actually promotes your brain health, because you're increasing the blood flow through your brain, and that actually supports neuroplasticity or BDNF, just brain health in general, which I mainly focus on my nutrition. I just like to have that advantage into my health. And improve HRV, which is a key marker for stress adaptation and recovery. So I do like to measure my HRV every now and then. For me, my healthy HRV sits around above 60, and if it's sitting below 60, like around 40 or 50, that means that I'm actually really fatigued and I need to recover. So that means taking a break from strenuous workouts. Yeah, that's why I like to do cardiovascular exercise in general. So that's just how I went with my first week of shredding. So I did share my workout routine and my calories. If you guys have any questions, feel free to drop down a comment and I'll try to answer it as soon as possible. Or also, if you guys have any requests on what to tackle in terms of like nutrition and like on how you incorporate certain ways in your training, yeah, just drop it in the comment section and I'll try to answer it or make a video about it. So that's it for me. Week 1 of shredding done and dusted. Another 11 to 15 weeks that I'm gonna go through. The key components for this journey is just consistency. For me, consistency matters more than intensity. So that's me removing fleeting behaviors such as motivation or emotion. I'm just gonna stick to a structured routine and process because I know in the long run it will benefit me. As long as I know how to nourish myself, how to incorporate my recovery, and also how to sort out my workload management in terms of like resistance training. So I hope you guys like this video, and on next week I will share on how my week 2 of shredding is going through. Obviously there'll be just a little bit of changes in terms of like weight and physique, but I'd just like to share it so you guys can see the magic of consistency and the process of like just trusting a structured routine. That is that for me. I hope you guys liked the video. If you guys like it, please click the like button, and if you haven't subscribed to my channel, please do so. And if you guys have any friends or relatives that is interested on learning on how to lose fat, or just like watching someone trying to lose fat or weight in the next 12 to 16 weeks, please share this video to them so that we could spread some awareness and knowledge on this space. So thank you guys for watching, and again, stay fit, stay strong, and keep crushing it. See you in my next video. Have a good one, guys.